Hello and welcome to Self Publishing Masterclass. I'm your book coach, Ayo from GMGA Publishing. And if you have attended my previous webinars, right from the Heart series of webinars, then you must have learned how to write a poetry book, a devotional book, a memoir, and a self help book. And if you have signed up for this class, then you will have free access to all of these recorded sessions. Isn't that great? Not only that, after this session, you will be able to see or view our two free sessions. The first is editing for authors, and the other one is marketing for authors. So after this, I shall be sending the link to your email or to our group chat so that you can view them anytime you want. Okay, let's go straight to this very exciting project that you're taking on because if you have been writing for quite some time and you are now thinking about how to get this book out to the world, then this is for you. Usually, the problem with newbie authors, the ones who are just still starting in the industry, is that they can have a very difficult time looking or locking in with a traditional publisher. Now, that shouldn't stop you from pursuing your goal to becoming a full fledged author. Okay, so now I'm going to teach you some of the things, or shall I say, the best practices, the lessons, the insights I've learned in the last 5 years as I started here in this industry as a self published author. Now, you will be meeting a lot of terms here, and I'll try my best to simplify them so that you can really grasp the meaning of this. And the goal is for you to launch immediately what you will learn from me today. Okay, so let me just give me a moment to present the slides that we have today. And of course, if there will be questions along the way, I would be happy to answer and share with you what I know. Okay, so once again, welcome to our self publishing masterclass. You don't have to wait for the right time to publish. You don't have to wait for a traditional publisher to come your way. But here is about you taking on the leash, running the show, and enjoying the process along the way. I'm Ayo once again. I'm a mother of four and I love writing. I started writing my diary at the age of 9. I tried my best to write daily. And to this day, somehow I can still manage to do that. Perhaps not daily, but I still write regularly. I'm an avid reader. I read across genres. I love history, classics, anything in between. So I also love writing poetry, especially the Japanese forms. You have that haiku, tanka, and my favorite blank verse. I have a son. You are seeing his photo here. At the time he was 10, he published his first poetry book, Haiku Adventures, at the height of the pandemic. I also have a daughter. Her name is Brianna, and she was 8 when she published her Flash Scary Stories. And we were able to participate in the Indie PopCon here in Cebu. And what you're seeing here is the copy of her book on display with the rest of the authors being featured on that event. And he's also my husband, the one who motivated me and the one who paved the way to get this author career going for us. Started with nothing, knew nothing of the process. So everything that happened was more of us looking for the right answers. I also work full time in our church as a welfare and self reliance services manager. I love writing, and the other side of it is I also love speaking. I am the charter president of the Pinoy Writers Toastmasters Club, also the president of the City of Angeles Toastmasters Club, and because of the journey here in my writing, I was able to build a small business. Here we have the GMJ Entertainment Productions, and I'm going to tell you this happened because I launched my first book, and on. I realized that there are others who need my help, how to get started. So that's when GMJ Publishing was born. One of my mentors, Eileen Artabio, is a Filipino American author now based in America. who really had a great impact on my writing because I've learned so much from her. And one of the Filipino authors whom I really admire, we also have F. Shunil Jose, and we have it's actually an amalgam of different authors and writers whom I follow. These are some of the books that I published, and I call this New Era, the new business card. Of course, you still have your business card that you use for work. Well, how about coming up with a new way to introduce yourself? Such that here I'm going to tell you this is my first poetry book hearings. And then after that, I went on and published. The very first one actually was a book about haiku poetry, and it's called Bards from the Far East. And then from there, I collaborated with different authors, Sensibility, Iwokare, and we have the Metamorphosis. Chiaroscuro is my first poetry book translated into French, Italian, and Spanish. And because of this, another opportunity opened up, and now I am publishing Italian authors. The recent one is Chasm. Chasm, my so far my favorite poetry book because I can say that my writing has matured over the years. So all of this, I'm very proud because when you look at your babies, at your books, you realize the hard work, the discipline, the focus to make these things happen. And from these books have been Amazon bestsellers on their releases, and I'm just so happy because I was able to give a proper platform to aspiring authors as well. Those who come and ask me how they can also start working on branding themselves as authors. So this is the new business card. Think about it. How can it boost your career, your authority in your work? Because for me, because of my books, I was able to enjoy a lot of things, and I still am. Number one is I have been interviewed for TV programs, podcasts, and YouTube channels, and I've been featured in various websites and e-signs. So one thing leads to another. And also offered me the opportunity about 4 years ago to produce and host my travel show for local television in Pampanga. And companies and schools have been inviting me to speak and give lectures on many topics. On top of that, it's all about inking legacies, writing books, and public speaking. This is what I love, and I think this is a good motivation that because you have established yourself, now people are willing to pay for what you can offer them because there's value that you give to them. Think about what you're really good at in what you do, and then come up with a book, and people will have a great recall about that book, directly related, of course, to the author. So, what's going to happen is it's going to spiral, and there will be a lot of opportunities to come your way. Another thing that happened is that it opened the world for more collaborations with different authors all over the world. And while I am keeping my work, staying at with my children, being able to still serve them, I was able to find a rewarding, lucrative, and growing career in writing. It may not be that grand in terms of, because this is now I'm focused on, but because I'm this multifaceted person, I love doing a lot of things. So now you have a place for doing my hobby, which is writing and speaking, and also the more important duties that I perform as a wife, as a mom, and also in my career, in my work. And of course, one of the things is slowly I am building my multiple sources of income. And I'll tell you more about this on my marketing for authors. How can you build a big business out of your book? And the most important thing for me, which I value the most, is how I am linking legacies with my family. Ever since the goal is to, because I homeschool my kids, my goal is to really help them pen a book, at least one for each child. So we're now working on our fourth author in the family, Alexa. We're grooming her now. And then to follow will be, oh no, it's already the fifth because our sixth, our youngest Dorsa is only 6 years old. So yeah, for me, whatever happens to us, we leave this world too soon, we have something to leave to our family. Not only that, if the books really sell well, then not just legacy, you also have something to leave behind, right? So these are the reasons why you should, it has been said that the why transforms and the what informs only. So think about what is your biggest why for publishing your book. And because this why is such a very important motivator for you when things go rough, and I tell you it's going to be when the sales do not really come, would you stop or would you continue? Some of the career highlights that I have had in the past years I was being interviewed on CNN with Rico Hizon, with my co-author Boots Bertolome. We wrote a book and titled Tuesday, and of course, because of what I have written about my love story, it went viral on Facebook, got picked up by Maala Ala Mo Kaya. And before we knew it, we were on TV. Our love story was on MMK, although it closed now. But then it was considered as one of the best love stories in MMK. All right. So I didn't think that these things would happen, but they did. And the journey continues. That's the thing. The journey continues for you. We will all have different stories to tell about how we start and how we're going to go on with our intentions. This is the first book, like I told you, it opened up the world for me, self published. Ladies and gentlemen, I knew nothing about it, just went on and did my research, a lot of trial and errors along the way. But because of that, I was able to invite 17 more authors to join this poetry anthology. And that has been the harbinger, the start of great things that have happened since then. And after that, I gained more experience, and now I'm helping a lot of authors, over 300 published authors worldwide. As you can see, some are local, some are international, some are young, some are not very young. Regardless, it's all about you and your goal of sharing your message to the world. What is it that you want to share? Some of the authors that I told you about: Layers of Beauty from an Italian author, Litera from an educator in the Philippines, Catch the Rainbow from a retired educator. So, at any stage of your life right now, you can do it. Now, start small and think big. Why do I have to emphasize this? Because you do not want to fall into the trap of thinking that your first book will sell millions, right? And you would be so disheartened to know that even your family and your friends, the ones you think will buy your book, will not buy your book. It happens. But the thing is, you have to have a good perspective of things. What's going to be the long term goal for you? What do you want to happen for this book for yourself? So it takes time. There's a process, just like this Chinese bamboo tree that you have to plant for the next 5 years, but nothing happens, nothing sprouts from the ground, but you have to water it daily. What will you do in the last 5 years? You don't see any sign or evidence of growth. Most people would just stop. But if you know that the Chinese bamboo tree will grow into a 90 feet tall tree after 5 years and in the next 6 weeks, then you'd know that you should continue. So it's also akin to this journey that you will be taking on as a self published author. If you want to submit your work, you will have a copy of this. So start submitting stories, submitting your poems or your pieces of writing to different writing groups. No Fee Calls for Poems is where I started. It's a Facebook group that lets you know about the different areas where you can publish your work for, and these are paid submissions. You can also join anthologies if you're not yet sure about launching yourself solo, then you can gather your army and come up with anthologies. And when you are already a seasoned writer, that's when you can start writing for literary magazines because the standards are a bit higher. So make sure that you have enough practice before you submit for literary magazines. Here you can have a screenshot of this because these are the list of agents both in UK and US and where you can submit your pieces of writing all year round. Okay, make sure that you capture this. Be familiar with rejections, I said, because traditional publishing is hard as it is, self publishing is doubly hard. So make sure that you are so familiar with rejections because in self publishing, you now take on the responsibility of everything. I'm going to show you what are those things that you will take on as a self published author. Let's just talk about a bit of the glossary of terms. You may want to brush through this, but just if this is your first time to really hear this, it's important. The general publishing terms here is number one is copyright. Copyright means the right to copy or reproduce. It's the intellectual property, and original writing is copyrighted the instant it is created with no additional action needed. That's why when you publish on the platforms that I will be mentioning later, then automatically there is a corresponding copyright. Now, if you live in a certain country and you want to be protected more, you got to obtain a local copyright. Later, I'm going to show you what is the copyright authority here in our country. Another term that you need to know is the printer. The printer produces or prints the physical copies of the book. It might not be a publisher. It's just a printer, will just publish your book. A publisher is a company or entity that owns the right to distribute and sell a book, includes pre-press activities such as editing, proofreading, typesetting, and cover design. When you say a traditional publisher, they cover the entire costs of the production. However, the biggest bottleneck here is that when you're a newbie author, it's so difficult to land a contract. They would prefer those who already have a huge following, of course, because we're talking about money here, about profit. Another thing is the distributor. A distributor is a company that warehouses and ships books to bookstores, libraries, and retailers. For example, you have the Ingram and Baker and Taylor. Another is a bookseller. It is now a retail store that sells books, includes Barnes and Noble and independent bookstores. In the Philippines, you have the Fully Booked and the National Bookstores. So these are booksellers. Editor is someone who selects, prepares, corrects, organizes, condenses, and modifies a piece of writing, can be a freelancer or with a publishing company. Before you submit or you publish your work, make sure that your work is edited by a professional editor. You also have an acquisitions editor or acquisitions board. It is now an editor or group of people at a publishing house responsible for acquiring new titles. A publicist, on the other hand, is someone who generates and manages publicly or publicity for a public figure, someone who can afford to pay the fee to publicize them. A literary agent is next to the gods in the literary world because a literary agent represents a book author for negotiating sales, rights, and contracts, and it is being paid by commission on authors' royalties, usually 10 to 20%. So think about this. If you want to cut a deal with a traditional publisher, you don't go straight to them. First, you have to meet the middleman, the gatekeeper, and the gatekeeper is what you call the literary agent. Is that clear? Another term is the slush pile. Slush pile are unsolicited manuscripts sent to an editor or literary agent. You don't want your manuscript to go to the slush pile because most likely this will not be read. Backlist is are books that have been in print for some time but continue to sell steadily. There's just a lot of backlists from Jacob Rowling, from Paulo Coelho, from your favorite authors. So if they're selling good over the years, of course they keep them. Returns are unsold books that are returned to the publisher by the bookseller for credit, usually destroyed. And that hurts a lot, okay? Now, we have different publishing classifications. Number one is what you call the indie publishing, the independent publishing, or self publishing. So you can use the word synonymously. It is when an author, like you, takes charge of the publication process and retains the rights to distribute and sell their work. Traditional publishing is when an author sells the rights to their book to a publishing company. You no longer own the rights to your book. Once you cut a deal with a traditional publisher for a certain period of time, locked in contract, they own the rights to your book. The Big Five refers to the biggest publishers in the United States. Some of these have been merged, but here, when you buy a book, you see this names. That means, wow, these authors must be really the creme de la creme. No, they're the best. Small press refers to a small local, regional, or genre-specific publishing house. For example, a small press can be catering to poetry books only, or the Christian books, or fitness books, or financial books. Small press. Academic press is a publishing house associated with a university or educational institution. Okay, you have the Harvard, you have the UP, you have the Singapore, so different academic presses. Vanity press is a company that an author pays to publish their book. It falls under self-publishing, and you got to be cautious of this. These are presses that strips money off people, and I just know it is heartbreaking to know that there are authors who paid so much to be published but ended up with nothing. Okay, but then this vanity presses have already collected big sums of money from them. So there you go. Just an introduction about our publishing world. You got to know about publishing classifications. More about our glossary of terms in publishing. Number one is the metadata. It is known as your book sales force. It is any data that describes your book and any other relevant information that readers use to find your book. I'm going to give you a tour later of the KDP world so that you will be more familiarized with this or familiar with this. Now, according to a survey conducted by Amazon, 66% use the Amazon search before buying, and 89% are likely to buy on Amazon. So, if you put your book now on KDP, which is now being sold on Amazon, people will start searching. For example, some of the most pressing issues today is mental health. If you have a book about mental health, and you upload it and publish it there. However, your metadata doesn't specify anything about it. Then when they people start searching for mental health books, if your metadata is not correct or it's not really robust, then chances are your book will not pop out on the feed or on the Google, on the search engine. Do you get it? So it's important that you know how to use the keywords, how to place your books properly on the bookstores. Again, because you're a self-published author, you have to know all of these things. Another is discovery. It is the process by which the perfect customer finds your book. Discoverability is essential to making a sale because readers cannot read a book they cannot see or find. Once again, going back, and I teach this in my comprehensive book writing course. It's called Ink Your Legacy. You can find that www.inkyourlegacy.com, and you'll see that I am teaching from pre-conceptualization to writing to self-publishing or traditional publishing down to marketing. Another is genre. It's a type of art, literature, or music characterized by a specific form, content, and style. For example, in literature, there are four main genres. We have the drama, fiction, poetry, and nonfiction. And in my module of Ink Your Legacy, the genres are there, everything. Okay, algorithm, probably to our marketing friends here, algorithm is important because from time to time it changes. So you have to know how to use it because again, this will help people find your book easily. All right. So consider about using the right keywords so that people can find you. Next term is ISBN, that stands for International Standard Book Number. This is the registrant title, edition, and format of products used by publishers, bookstores, and libraries, and essential for ordering, sales reporting, and inventory control. So it's the code, the barcode you see on your book. That's the placement there, and it's important that you put it on the copyright page, the ISBN. Another one is the BISAC, which is the Book Industry Standards and Communication. This is now the industry approved list of standard subjects designed for the book trade in the US and English speaking Canada. Okay, and lastly, we have the niche. Niche publishing means publishing to a defined, focused audience. A Kindle publishing niche is a market, while a Kindle keyword is a book topic. For example, you want to write a book about self-help. That's a niche, but you may want to hammer it down to a sub niche. For example, the sub niche for self help could be for improving your mental wellness, or for, let's say, in fitness, you can go for keto diet. There's another sub niche right there. For example, in Christian genre, you can still, go and zoom into another sub niche of that. You can say Christian books for women or for men. Okay. So it's important that you know for whom the book you are going to write for. I call that the readatar. It's like avatar, right? So when you have a readatar on mind, you know who this person is, the demographics, what is her pain points or his pain points, what are the challenges, and what are the possible solutions you can offer to that reader. So when you write your book, you keep on thinking about this readatar. Who is this person? And that's how you're going to drill down on your niching. Okay? Let's now go to the different agencies. There's actually just two important agencies in the Philippines. And please remember this site. You have the web.nlp.gov.ph. This one leads you to the National Library of the Philippines and is the authority, of course, as it implies, on the books, the National Library, the all the wealth of books that we have in the Philippines. And part of it is the Copyright Office. So here, when you go to this link, it tells you what is a copyright, how can you process it. There will be forms and there will be instructions how to do it. Okay. Please stand by that I may come live on a different day just to teach people for free about how to go about applying for a copyright in the Philippines. And you will be surprised that it doesn't take much, it doesn't cost a lot for your book or for your work to be protected in the country. So you may want to start tinkering on this website just to get you a feel of the preparations, and of course the eyes on the prize. Once the book is published, you also have to work on the copyright of it. Another one is the National Book Development. Let me just go back a bit. So here is an example of a copyright document that will be mailed to you once uh, they approve of your copyright of your book. So it's stated here that this book belongs to you. And it gives you a sense of pride that, hey, this is my book, it's already copyrighted. Plus, the security it gives you, that if people want to copy you, then you have a claim on it because you're the first one. You are the original author of that. Another important agency in the Philippines, fairly new, it's been here for a couple of years only, the National Book Development Board, that has been trusted by the government to take care of all the publishers, editors, the artists in the writing industry. You go to booksphilippines.gov.ph for the National Book Development Board. And this is the next step after obtaining a copyright document from the Copyright Office of the National Library of the Philippines. This is the next step for you to become a an accredited author or editor or publisher. There are application forms online that you can just answer. And then the process is fairly easy. There's just a waiting time for approval. So long as you have submitted the documents that are complete and these are true, then you won't have a problem with the waiting time. It's going to be fairly short. Why do you want to be why do you want to be accredited? It's because NBDB will give you the priority in when it comes to programs, to when it comes to grants or scholarships, or even opportunities for you to showcase your book, for an editor to be tapped and be recommended to authors. Kumbaga, this is our one major platform for Filipino authors, editors, and publishers. So I go ahead and make sure that you start also discovering what this website is all about. Now let's go to why self-publish. I have rattled on, and this one, let's go to the meat of the discussion. Why do you want to self-publish? Because now you can say goodbye to the gatekeepers. Bye-bye. And publish book on your own using one or more of the many self-publishing platforms available. What has been deprived of the newbie authors for many decades has been eliminated. Now you have um, great fighting chance to get your book out. The self-published now account for 30 to 40% of all ebook unit sales. It's a growing thing. And after writing your book, you can have it edited and designed before you publish. With self-publishing, commissions are between 10 to 65%. The rest of the money is yours and you receive payments right from the very first book sold. You don't have to wait. Again, because you're the one who oversees everything, then the fruits of your labors, you're also the first one to partake. Okay? Here are the pros of self-publishing. Number one, every book can get published. Niche books and books by first-time authors would such be a risky investment to traditional publishers. That's why they will reject you once, twice. Even the great authors that we know today, they have been rejected many times. However, self-publishing takes only a few days or weeks at most. As in, that is a very short time to wait. So you see, you can just publish any time of the day. I have an author who already has, I think, 15 or 20 personal books, and she just loves the idea of publishing every now and then because she learned about the self-publishing route. Now, authors have complete creative control. You can just hire professional editing services and book designers. You can go away with the strict guidelines. You can be a little more creative with your book. What they say is not allowed, you can do it. All right, that's because you have the creative license to do that. Also, it is easier to make changes if something isn't working well. For example, after putting up your book on sale on Kindle, Amazon, then you spot an error, a glaring error on your book. You don't have to wait for many months or a year. You can just remove the old file and upload a new one and just wait for a few hours, then it can go live once again. Okay. Now, there's also the downside of self publishing, of course. Number one is the responsibility to market your book will rest with you. That's why the self publishing masterclass comes with a marketing for authors mini module. So, have to be prepared to invest time in creating and updating a blog, building an email list, soliciting reviews, and using social media, which I am doing. At first it's so, when you're starting with something, it's like a great hula baloo. You don't know what you're doing, but over time you get a good hand on everything that you do, and before you know it, you're already an expert. So you have to use book discounting sites for promotions. This I can share with you more in the free module. You will also need to pay for professional services. One of the mistakes that newbie authors do is that they don't hire professional editors. You don't do that because it will reflect the quality of your book. No, you don't say, because we are Filipinos, we don't need to really have a perfect, yeah, but as much as possible, achieve the near perfect edition of your book. So one of the higher biggest costs is publishing or hiring an editor. Another one is that you will spend more time away from writing because again, you will be monitoring the sales, you will be talking to people who can feature you on certain platforms to reach more mileage, things like that. So before you go into publishing, self-publishing, make sure that your work is really done already. Okay, and then the other thing is bookstores will not stock your book. It's difficult to convince bookstores to stock your book because you won't be able to accept book returns, unlike a traditional publisher. So you see, they are looking for the security here, right? The security deposit. But with you, of course, they wouldn't do it. That's a lot of work. I will not sugarcoat it. But then again, if you are decided and committed to this, then go all the way, right? Go play the full Monty. There are four types of self-publishing companies. We have the aggregator, the retailer, educator, and the servicer. So you have the purpose here and use them if you want this and that. Aggregator, book distributor, if you want a hands-off book distribution. A retail is when you need a platform to sell your book. An educator when you want to learn a proven process. This is what I do. I teach authors how to self-publish. I am also a service provider. Servicer is where you need editing, cover design, and other services. For example, in my GMJ publishing company, we also offer translation services for Italian, French, and Spanish. And we also have our professional artists here, graphic artists, the ones who create book trailers, the ones who are into email listing, email campaign for the book. So there's just a lot of professional services that you can get from. Okay, so here I already explained it. Some of the aggregators are the Apple Books or Google Play Books. That's one. There's just a lot of you can see there if you haven't subscribed to this yet. Retailer, the example of this is Amazon, Barnes and Noble, Apple Books, and Kobo. All right. The publishing educator, when you see coaches, book coaches, what's that? So that's where they offer also education as well. And then leading to author services, you can already tie in it with education. So because authors will be looking for solutions and platforms. If you already have a league of professionals in the industry, then why not go ahead to it? These are the top self publishing platforms, and as promised, we will delve into the Kindle Direct Publishing. For your personal study, you can go on and discover Barnes& and Noble, Kobo, Apple Books, selfpublishing.com, Read, See, Lulu, Ingram Spark, Publish, Drive, Draft to Digital. Some of this cater to full-colored magazines, some, planners. There are sites here that you need to pay for uploading each book. But the best thing about Kindle Direct Publishing, I'm going to tell you right now. That's why Kindle Direct Publishing or KDP for Amazon. So Kindle Direct Publishing is a self-publishing platform where authors can publish their print and ebooks now with hardbound and audiobook. All right. In the United States alone, Amazon makes up to 40% in self-published digital books. That's a lot versus the traditional publishers. Now, what makes Amazon so critical in the publishing arena? First, Amazon has a widespread reach that puts book in front of millions of browsers per day. Talk about Jeff Bezos being the richest man in the world today, right? And they also offer competitive royalty rates, that I can assure you. For ebooks, 35% for books priced under $2.99 or 70% for all books priced between $2.99 and $9.99. For paperbacks and hardcovers, you get 60% royalties from list price. That's big. That's really big. So this is a good motivator for you now to think about, oh, okay, why should I pursue KDP? There's also what you call the KDP Select Exclusivity. KDP has an exclusive program that sets it apart from the other retailers. The KDP Select and Kindle Unlimited programs for authors. There are perks to each one of these programs, such as special promotion programs and Kindle owners lending library or call, wherein you enroll the book and you get paid for every time your book is being downloaded. The downside to joining KDP Select, however, is that you are enrolled for 90 days in an exclusive partnership with KDP. So this means that you are tied to Amazon exclusively. That's why it's called Select Exclusivity. All right. And you cannot make your books available on other platforms. It's not allowed. Okay, so now let's go ahead and find out how you can self-publish in KDP. This is the most exciting part now. It's as easy as going to KDP. Create an account, complete the tax information, and hit finished. So when you create a KDP account, all you need to do is to go to KDP and click sign up. Click create and your KDP account, enter your name, email address, and a secure password. I tell you, in a few minutes, you'll be done creating an account. Just go to this website, https, all right, that's kdp.amazon.com slash depending where you live, but the default place for the Philippine authors is US. That's our marketplace. Okay. All right, that's clear? Yeah, you can capture this one. So you can now go ahead and start opening your browser. Now, the author publisher information, this is where you add your first and last name or the name of your publishing company. Do not enter your pen name here. Okay, you got to choose whether this is individual or corporation, and then you also choose the date of your birth or date of incorporation, depending if it's a business type. Choose your country or region of residence and enter the mailing address you want for them for the tax reporting purposes and royalty payments. Wow, this is really big now. We're talking about tax and royalty payments. And then click save. Remember that the name provided in author publisher information should be the legal name of the author. I got it from KDP, and that's why this is the pronoun we here. They will not issue your payments and tax forms under the same name. If you want to use a pen name, enter it when you're setting up your book details. For example, I'm going to show it later that I have my complete name as my name and then my pen name, Ayo Gutierrez, in my books. How do you want to get paid? Pay attention because I'm sure that you are interested to know how you're going to earn from Amazon. So KDP provides different payment methods such as direct deposits, wire transfer, or check. Now, what you need to do is this. Go to your KDP account, you complete the two-step verification. Under getting paid, click add a bank account. Enter your bank account information according to your country or region requirements. Click add to save information and then you will be notified with a green check that you've added your bank successfully. Click save. However, if you live in the Philippines, you will not see this provision for bank accounts set up. So you will go to the KDP payment options because the option for Filipino authors is through check payment. And I will be sharing in the group the link to how you can earn through Amazon. It's a vlog that I created in my YouTube channel. I'll be sending that to you so that you can again go to that one step at a time. Okay, now you have to treat your books like your first baby. Okay, that's my baby, my real baby, my youngest one. So now when you have your first baby, you want to give the best. You don't want the hand-me-downs as much as possible. Everything is brand new, elegant, grand, grand, grand. Okay? So with regards to your book, make sure that you treat your book well. It's true that people judge the book by its cover. That's why you have to get a good illustrator to design your book cover. Pretty much, these are the costs to self-publishing a book. For example, a professional cover design ranges from $50 to $600, depending on the kind of artist you will get. Professional editing, just like what I told you earlier, never publish a book that has not been professionally edited. You can spend around $200 to $2,000. That's why it's good to you that you have an English grammar teacher or an editor friend. All right, formatting. how your book will present itself, the illustrations, the format, the layout. It's between 50 to $250. Marketing and promotion. These things you can do for yourself if you're starting, but you have enough funds already, you can get the help of some professionals as well on this. Author tools. This includes building a website, automated email, marketing app, and many, many more. You can spend about $200. The thing is, you look for the best ones, make sure that they have a history of helping people and producing quality work. You can find a lot of these freelancers on different websites, but make sure that you ask them for a copy or for their, what do you call this? The people or the clients that they have served before. Just do your background check before you pay anything and make sure that they will deliver. Okay. Now, self-publishing service companies, I've already described this to you a while ago. It's now time for us to explore KDP. All right, are you ready? I'm still here. Are you there? Okay, let me just go to my KDP account. I think that you are already seeing this. Like I said, okay, for example, for a while. Let's just make sure that you see this. Here it is. So this is the site, as I said, as you can see here. This is the US bookshelf. This is our default marketplace for Filipino authors. And you can see the tabs here, the bookshelf, the reports, community, and the marketing. Everything's been mapped out for you. This is the page where you create your book. So when you hit it, create, it leads you to different options. Whether would you like to create a Kindle ebook? Here you click this one, or a paperback, and their beta hardcover now. It's also included, and you also have a series page if you're writing for a series, right? So pro tip here, after submitting your book, it takes about 72 hours to appear on Amazon.com and up to 5 days for the remaining Amazon country websites. Isn't it exciting? Because your book will be available in many countries. They're called marketplaces. Going back to our page here, you can see now my bookshelf because I have published a lot of books already. You can see my latest poetry chasm here. It says here hardcover is now live, priced at $15. Okay, I did not create a soft bound and an ebook for this yet. I also have the book of my daughter's Koreana's closet being published on my site as well. My son's, this is inked from page to stage. This is a anthology of Toastmaster speeches from my club Pinoy writers and other authors here. This is my book about writing a book, Ink Your Legacy. It has now multiple pages because, like I told you, there's a lot of authors already that have been published using my account. There you go. Okay, just showing you how it looks like when you have already populated this with your projects. All right. Isn't this exciting? Now let's go back to page 1 so you'll appreciate it more. We're now back on page 1. As you can see, this is chasm. And here, if you want to create a paperback, you just click the create paperback. And it's as easy as choosing what language it is. There's a drop down menu right there. And then you have to write the book title. Make sure that it's final because once it's approved, you cannot change the title anymore. And then the edition number, if there is, this is optional. And the author, what will be the name that you will use? Again, be careful about your pen name. If you want to establish your brand under one pen name, then you have to be very consistent. Contributors is where you list the other people who are involved in the book project. For example, your editor or forward, illustrator, introduction, writer, the narrator, photographer, preface, translator, contributions by. Just a pro tip here, if you write their names here, and they want to write a review of your book, they cannot write a review because Amazon will reject it. Because Amazon can clearly establish the lineage that you are connected with these people. So it's a bit of a bias for them to really, leave a review for your book when they're a part of the book, right? It's totally biased. So if you want them to leave a review, then do not put their names there. Description is very important. This now forms your metadata, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure your introduction here captures the keywords that you want to float when people are looking for searching on Amazon. For example, my keywords here are truths, story, soul, rhythm. So I carefully choose the words to put in my description. And I also have here problems, humanity, fantasy. So there you go. So if you want people to look for the words that are part of your book, make sure that they are also included in your metadata. So in this publishing rights, I own the copyright, or this is a public domain work, you just click I own the copyright here. Another thing that forms the metadata and algorithm that can help you be discovered are the keywords here. For example, in my custom, I put healing, self-care, acceptance, growth, meaning, crossroads, second chances. And then you also have the categories. Okay, this is for another telling, and because it helps a lot, this choosing of categories, that's where usually you choose where it belongs. You don't choose a category when your book is totally offshoot from the genre. You don't do that just because you just want it here. No, there's a lot of categories here: fiction, non-fiction, juvenile, not fiction and nonfiction, comics and graphic novels, education and reference, literary collections, and non-classifiable. And there are subcategories as well. You got to choose two, only two. Now, for the adult content, you have to check on no or yes if there are inappropriate material here under 18 years of age. You just save and continue. That will lead you to the next step, which is now, if you don't have an ISBN, you can click on this one, assign me a free KDP ISBN. You click that one, and then it's gonna generate the ISBN or unique ISBN for you. What you will do is to copy this and then you put that on your copyright page of your book, the first page of your book. You also have here the publication date. When do you want it live? This one is very technical here. Make sure that you choose once and you're going to stick with it because you cannot change this part of your setup. Is it going to be black and white interior with cream paper, or black and white interior with white paper, standard color interior with white paper, or premium color interior with white paper? It's very expensive. You go for the premium color interior. But if you want to have just a copy of this for yourself, it's like an edition, special edition. You go for it. But if you're selling for the masses, you may want to just choose the black and white interior with cream paper or the black and white interior with white paper. You also have to choose the trim size. What is the trim size here? You can click about it, and the trade paperback is actually 6 by 9. That is the standard. Okay, but you can have other sizes as well. Bleed settings, you choose no bleed or bleed PDF only if you have illustrations, and making sure that they don't go, they will be included in the cutting. So if you want to know more about the bleed settings, you can read it right here. You also have the paperback cover finish. Do you want something matte or glossy? So when you say glossy, of course, shiny, shining, shiny paper, the matte is, I always love the matte paper here, the finish. But it's up to you. This is the part where it gets more exciting. You now upload your paperback manuscript. It will lead you to where you're going to get your file. and it requires that you upload a PDF file, right? You can also upload a Word file so long as it follows the requirements here. But if you don't want to encounter any problem, it's going to be a PDF file of your manuscript. This is where now the book cover is where you create cover creator, you launch your cover creator, or when you have a designed cover already, you go right here to upload a cover you already have. So for launch cover creator, it's where it will lead you to this. Again, if you don't have a professional artist you cannot afford, you can go for simple covers and it is already provided by KDP. Okay, so it's taking a while. But here there you will have options, but your options are actually limited. I still prefer that you get a professional artist because there will be revisions mostly if you cannot follow the recommendation. So once everything's done, all you need to do is upload and then launch previewer. When it's launch previewer, you got to check every page and KDP will alert you if there are text outside the margins when you need to change something so you don't approve it yet. But if everything's good, everything's properly formatted and all, you're happy with the content, then you can just go save and continue. But today I cannot go save and continue. Then the last part will be for you to go to your, so it's requiring that you actually upload a paperback and upload a book cover. After this, the last thing for you is to go to the payment section. And that's where you will decide what is the price of your book, all right? And how much royalty for the ebook you want. Let's just say continue, save, and continue. Let's leave this page. Okay. Going back to our bookshelf. There you go. Let's go to this part where, okay, let's go to this example of a live ebook and a live paperback for ink from page to stage. If you click the drop down menu here, this refers now to the marketplaces: the US, the UK, Germany, France, Spain, Italy, Netherlands, Japan, Brazil, Canada, Mexico, Australia, India. Meaning to say, this people can buy books from these marketplaces. That's why I said it's bonga, worldwide distribution. It is. For paperback, you have another set here of the books, the countries where your books will be available. And if you want to promote and advertise, all you need to do is click this one. You may want to offer your ebook for free for a couple of days, or you want to enroll that in KDP Select. There are options for marketing here. You run a price promotion or you run an ad campaign. You got to choose a marketplace where you will run the ad campaign. Isn't it great? Let's go to reports. Ta-da-da. Reports is where you will see the sales of your books, the dashboard. For example, the last 30 days, the last 90 days, the KEP read, the month-to-date promotions, pre-orders, everything here. It takes a while for you to learn this, but all the you can still and you can download the report so you would know how many sales you're getting for that month, for that period. When you go to community, if you want to be part of what's going on in the KDP community. There are forum topics here, recent announcements to keep you updated. You can start a question here and get answers from people, from fellow authors. You see? And then you also have here, there's so many things to learn from Kindle Direct Publishing. And what I love most about this site is it's that it's very friendly. I've tried other platforms and immediately I was turned off because of the difficult processes involved. Where here, just in Kindle Direct Publishing, you upload your book for free. I'm not gonna tell which sites that really charge you because that I don't think that's good. But here, so easy. Once you publish and upload the book, it will take about 72 hours max, so long as there are no errors on your book. So you can go on, like I said, enjoy this process for you to know, okay? And start now. If you encounter some glitches, some hiccups along the way, feel free to reach out to me and we'll sort it out. Another thing I want you to see is the author Amazon, author.amazon.com, the Amazon Author Central page before. So here's my account. You're gonna click here, Ayo Gutierrez. I have two pen names here, my Ayo Gutierrez and Caroline Abangan. I have already merged this. You can go check my author page. You go to this author page and this is where it leads you to this. It leads you to the performance of every book that you have uploaded or you're selling. For now, it's telling me that the most popular book I have right now is The Inked from Page to Stage. It means it's been being viewed, being downloaded, or being bought by customers. So the total books I have is 16. If you click on that one, you'll see the timely report of everything here. You also see the how many what do you call this, people have left reviews on your books. Okay, you really get to know how your book is doing. Okay, so Amazon directly links you to authors that have been connected to you one way or the other because you have participated in their anthology projects also. So it's really helping the community of authors. Go to this, and as soon as you upload each book, you have to add that to your books. This is now your comprehensive bio data, your comprehensive resume. Well, when they ask, oh, you have books, where can we find your books? And then you lead them to this link. Well, go there, just check my profile on Amazon Author Central. And there you go. They can see all the books here. I am not telling any lies, right? I'm not saying I'm an author and I'm not. You can check here the people who have joined my anthology books, the solo poetry books that I have published, the self-help books that are here, they're all here. I cannot lie. They're all here. Okay? So with that simple tutorial that I've given you, I hope that it has opened your mind, your hearts, your eyes to the big possibility that you might be getting once you start self-publishing your book. And it's also a good practice because you know what? When you get better of all of this, that's the time that you will have the courage to go for the big or the traditional publishers because you already have that evidence to support you and you have already built a following already. Traditional publishers would like to get authors who have also built their tribes, people who have already bought their books. So this is now a good practice for you. This is a good starting point. And in the free modules that I'll be sending you for the next 2 days, tomorrow you will access the editing for authors free module, and on this after that you will have the marketing for authors, because what I teach people is to become an entrepreneur. An entrepreneur is someone who takes risks and someone who defines the problems and they're able to find the solutions and offer value, because my premise, my belief is that a book is not just one product, your books are actually businesses. And this is really exciting. Let me show you what the vision I have when I started and how it's slowly coming to reality. It takes time, I tell you, and it probably will take me years, and I don't care. It's a process. So long as I'm enjoying it, this is what I want when I grow old, when I'm no longer working, my active income, something that I can do for the rest of my life. So, welcome to the world of entrepreneurs. Welcome to the world of self publishers. And I'm so excited for you to launch your first book and your books after that. So, once again, thank you so much. Thank you for attending our self publishing masterclass. Of course, you can expect a lot of gifts that I will drop on our group chat, on our group, for all of the free sessions that you can get from this self publishing masterclass. So, thank you so much and good luck self publishing your books. Goodbye.